Hi, welcome to Studio 3, News Team 3. This is Jimmy Rickle, your host, producer. We're down at the Access Studio here in Ukiah, and we're experimenting with a new editing program. Today we're going to be bringing you a special. Last week, the 6th, 7th, and 8th, was a Indian, Native American demonstration here in Ukiah at the Ukiah Plaza. It was Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And primarily it was a group of Indians who were disenrolled from their particular tribes. We've got the Elam tribe out of Clear Lake Oaks, or Lake County. There was a Hopland band of Pomo Indians, that had some disenrollments recently, about 74. And they had some support from individuals from the Coyote Valley Indian tribe. In essence, we were surprised that disenrollment even occurs. So we went to YouTube and typed in disenrollment, and finding out this is going on throughout the country. Different tribes are eliminating members for whatever reason. Sometimes it's a bloodline. Sometimes it's a behavioral issue. In whatever case, some of these disenrolled members had been on their councils and so forth. So what we found out basically is personal politics. You get a chairman of a council, and sometimes these people are elected for 2, 4, 6 years. It depends. Each tribe is different. They have a constitution that kind of guides how they approach all these activities. You know, and each of these tribes are sovereign nations among themselves. So anyway, we kind of took a look at this. We came to Ukiah and went to the plaza and took some video. So what we're going to be bringing you this evening is a couple things. Each group that participated, and you know, we really anticipated a lot more folks. I think there was 30, 40 people at any one time, but it's pretty much these 3 tribes in both Mendocino Lake County that were concerned about that, or who were at least protesting. So what we're going to be bringing you, that they had a little prayer. They basically had a little demonstration where they made some comments as to what the issues were at hand. They then went to the courthouse and demonstrated. Excuse me. And one of the highlights of the demonstration or protest, whatever you may deem it as, was a confrontation with the local attorney, Lester Marston. The Elam tribe members are basically accused the local attorney Marston as helping the tribe deal with enrollment issues. And one of the main things that Mr. Marston came out with was that he's an advisor. He advises tribes on a variety of issues, has for a long time, whether he is with the Bureau of Indian Affairs or he's a private contractor now. That he advises the tribal councils as to what their options are in interpreting Indian law. He did not say that he had any activity in disenrollment of the Elam tribe members. He did participate in the Duncan, or one particular Indian that was disenrolled many years ago, from the Robinson Rancheria area, which is also in Lake County. So there was a lot of controversy. To this reporter, it looked like they just wanted to make a lot of noise. They were having a hard time addressing my concerns in terms of specifics of what to do next. There's an Indian court that they can go to, which is devised. Each tribe can put a court together they would bring in a pro tem judge of sort, but it doesn't mean that the tribal council has to accept what that court comes up with. So a lot of these individuals that were disenrolled were really at ends of what to do. They were going to contact their legislator, they were going to contact the secretary of, which is the Bureau of Indian Affairs. There's an office in Sacramento, but basically what we found out, the Bureau of Indian Affairs wants the tribes to address their own particular issues, and they pretty much stay out of it. I believe the Secretary of the Interior, or that department, has to approve the disenrollment process, and that may be where the linkages are, how that was done, how they eroded people from voting, and so forth. So, and the bottom line is this. For instance, 74 people were disenrolled from the Hopland tribe. These individuals could receive $1,200 per diem every 3 months. So if you total that up, 74, you're probably looking at $300,000 that now get distributed among other tribe members. I think there's 700-800 members in that particular tribe. So you can see where money plays a role in this, and personal politics plays a role in this, and not following particular guidelines that they have for themselves or reinterpreting it for themselves has created this problem. And we thought today what we're going to bring you is a little bit of the footage, a little bit of the confrontation that we had. We want you to make up your own mind of how you see this affecting your Native American neighbors. All right, Jimmy Rickle, Studio 3, News Team 3. We're going to get on with the show. We hope that you enjoy this. Our broadcast times are Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday at 2 o'clock, except for Wednesdays, which were basically around 6. We may start 5:45 or so. But we try and repeat these particular programs a couple weeks so you can grab and share with your neighbor that, hey, did you see this on local access television? All right, Jimmy Rickle from Studio 3, News Team 3. Let's get on with the show.
So I really shortened up. Because I got no Oh, that's thirsty or what? My name's Addie. Yeah, I mean. Did you cut out the normal crap? Is that pink cherry? Are you ready to share it?
I would just want to give some background on this. Unfortunately, this is a like small pox blankets that were brought to us. That's what's happening in disenrollment. Unfortunately, all these attorneys who fought for our sovereignty in the 1960s under the California Indian Legal Service, Lester Marston, David Rappaport, all came from that. They made all their money on working with Indian tribes. Now they're disenrolling the same Indian tribes that they worked with. And the worst thing about it is the Pomo Nation, the tribes in 3 counties, Sonoma, Mendocino, and Lake County, not one of these tribal leaders are standing up for disenrollment. They're just looking the other way. And matter of fact, Lester Marston has a contract with almost all the Pomo tribes in his county. And we should let the members know the conflict of interest that these people are conducting while disenrolling our children and taking their futures from them. And what's worse is look at all the Indian tribes that survived the United States genocide. We could not carry our culture. They made sure that we were Christianized, baptized, sanitized, and cleansed. That's why all of us carry white Anglo or Spanish names. We don't have our own traditional names because of that. And matter of fact, 90% of the tribes that call themselves Pomo use a colonized name, like Geedeville, Robinson. Those are names after white people. They're not after our tradition and our people. See, so what has happened here is they made sure they brainwashed and colonized our members, bringing in alcohol and drugs. And so that way, they don't respect the traditional wisdom of the tribal elders. See, we had chiefs. Now, for example, our traditional leaders They were the chiefs. We didn't separate religion and politics. And that's why we had lifetime leaderships. I think a perfect example is the Ukiah tribe, right here. They're not federally recognized, but yet they're the only true tribe in this county because they stood up, they had their own trustees, lifetime trustees. They didn't go to the federal government and made themselves lords. They kept their sovereignty, and yet this town sold their name, Ukiah. It's really Ukiah. See, this is the kind of thing that goes on, and what the bad thing is the citizens don't realize because they all have this colonial mindset. All of their wealth and supremacy came from our people, the slavery of our people here in California. California should be known as a murder state. They conducted murder against all the tribal people. They made us slaves in our own homelands. And every one of the farmers from these towns all had Indian slaves. They all, matter of fact, prostituted and sold our children and women to the miners and all these the perverted people who came. And it's a whole story about it, but nobody wants to hear the story. Because why? As long as we're talking, we're the living victims. They don't want, America doesn't want us to speak. They don't want us, they don't want our voice out there. So now these attorneys know that they have to attack the last traditional leaders. Look at in Lake Mendocino and Sonoma County, there are 17 federally recognized tribes. And out of that, only 4 tribes still have their own roundhouse and carry on their ceremonies to this day. The rest of them are all colonized and accept these colonized names for themselves and their history. Every history book here is European history of us, not the history about ourselves from us. So and then what did they do? They brought in and they trained, the universities are all a part of this, the church system is all a part of this. And this criminalization of our people. And we have the first right to protect ourselves. And as a cultural leader of my roundhouse, I called out for warriors to come and help protect us from the eviction. So that's in the process right now. And we're going to even ask non-Indian people to stand with us. We got to understand, look what's going on in America. This is a prime example of this. Ignorance and denial of the long history of the United States racism, colonization, and terrorism over its own people. Now the white people are being terrorized, and we don't even realize, what's happening to our governments. So here's a perfect example. You can't give the original people of this land justice. Nobody deserves justice, and until that happens, all of this corruption will continue. And like I said, it's with me. My tribe has a 22,000-year existence at our reservation. All of the people who are disenrolling us were colonized people that were sent to the cities and never came home. They never cared about their culture. They got into the city culture, the gangs and all of that. And that's what they did. And they came home. And not one of them goes into the route. Not one of the people who call them our leaders of our tribe even live on the reservation. Now, yeah.
So a question is, now with all this disenrollment, what options do you have as a tribe or tribe member?
Well, again, we need to have the people stand up and basically assert our civil rights, because what has basically happened here is there's been no due process. Here, a good example is the Department of the Interior. Now, what they have is any tribe. Well, let me go back. The National Indian Gaming Commission, the Indian Gaming Regulatory Act was passed in 1988. They identified what the monies are supposed to be used for to help the tribe economically, the welfare system. And what the corrupt tribal people did was they said, no, this is all going to per capita payments. So what they started to do is use this money as payola. So I'm going to pay you so you can disenroll him so you can get more money. And see, that's what's been happening. Remember now, the state of California, the state attorney general and Governor Brown, we should be petitioning them to step in. The millions and possibly even trillions of dollars of Indian gaming is being manipulated by the state as well. And also, National Indian Gaming Commission, in their laws, they basically are not forcing the law. They actually have the authority to stop this. Anything dealing with revenue, embezzlement, anything like that. they can question it, stop it, and actually take people to court. But they're not doing anything.
Have you or any your members contacted your legislative representatives?
Yes, but unfortunately they're doing the same thing. Dianne Feinstein, she did the same thing. What's his name? Guy from Santa Rosa. Anyway, Thompson, he did the same thing. It's always go to the BIA. Now see, here's the story. What people are missing here is this really started from an environmental justice issue. So the quick story, my tribe never had running water and electricity until 1972. Okay, a group of students who came up to our roundhouse to see the ceremony from Berkeley were so appalled when they left us not having running water and bathroom facilities. What they did was they start writing the senators. And they put so much pressure on the Bureau of Indian Affairs, they came in with the housing project for our tribe. Now, you know what they did? The road department supervisor, who was named Harold Bradford, a Sioux Indian, went and bought all the toxic mine tailings from the Sulphur Bank mine next door to us and put that in for our landfill, for our houses, and our roads. They violated Section 106 of the National Environmental Policy Act. Okay, and what they basically did was they destroyed the cultural resources at our community. So every time we went to the BIA to try to say we need environmental justice for this fallout from the mercury mine, they would shut our government down. Because Harold Bradford, who was the head of the road department, is now the superintendent of the BIA office. Okay? See, that's the conflict. So BIA has too much of a conflict of interest to even be involved here, our BIA from California.
So yeah, we have Lake County tribes, we have Sonoma tribes,
Right.
we have Mendocino County tribes
Right.
that have gone through this disenrollment. Don't you feel, why all at the same time?
Right.
Why do you think this is going on, one? And two, doesn't the Interior Secretary have some sort of approval process?
Yes.
The,
Secretary Jewell has a lot of authority, but she basically is right now not doing anything, sitting back like everyone else, waiting. See, what they want is they want Indians to kill each other. That's what they want, so they could come in and regulate us more. That's what. So they love this violence, Indian among Indian, because it keeps their jobs for them, and that's always been the problem to BIA.
yeah, well, I haven't experienced any violence yet. I mean,
Right.
a lot of discontent. This is the first
Well,
effort.
if you want to go back and look at 1995.
Well, today we're talking about
Okay, yes.
disenrollment.
Well,
so-
you know why? Because we here, I can only speak for us, we're traditional people. And we only resort to violence to save our lives, and that's it. Now, so here, like you're saying now, look at now, the tribes you're talking about, we didn't put up those county lines, Sonoma, Mendocino, and Lake County. Our nation included 6
Yeah.
counties.
remember
And that's
seeing
why
a map
that's
of
why
that.
people like Professor Krober from Berkeley had to recreate a name called Pomo. That is not our name. Pomo is a word in our language, but all of us had accepted it because that's the only way we could identify with the non-Indian and the government, if we accepted this colonized name. Okay, my tribe is called Elam. We never use the word Pomo, other than to describe a piece of land. So what happened is all our tribes were divided here by those county borders and lines. Even now, I talk to my family relatives and say, "Oh, you're Lake County Indian," or "You were identified by the counties that we're in." And see, so to top it off, you got a state of California who basically has hidden the true history and how the state itself basically went in and undermined the treaties, the 1815 treaties. That's why in the state of California, there was supposed to be 7.4 million acres set aside for Indian reservation lands. And because the sabotage of the state legislature